Okay, it's our final pay-per-view before WrestleMania. It's Fastlane 2018. It's also the last SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, so a lot happening in this. Now, there wasn't initially a kickoff show match announced until probably an hour or so before the show started. Yeah, again, I don't like when they do that. It was just announce it a couple days before. What's it really going to hurt? Anyway, it's the six-man tag of Breezango and Ty Dillinger against Benjables and Mojo Rawley. They did this little brief vignette from like the WWE.com exclusive thing that showed the heel team basically mocking Breezango and Ty Dillinger because I guess Ty Dillinger's now an intern with the Fashion Police. Anyway, Gable and Breeze started things off. Immediately, Fandango tagged in and he put on the wrestling ear guards. He tried to mock Benjamin and Gable. The three faces immediately hit drop kicks on all three heels. Gable hit Tyler Breeze with a big face buster. Shelton Benjamin tagged in and hit an armbar DDT on Tyler Breeze. Mojo Rawley tagged in and actually taunted Ty Dillinger and then knocked Fandango off the ring apron. Eventually Dillinger got the hog tag. A big schmoz broke out. Dillinger hitting kind of a rolling knee buster, for lack of a better term. It's sort of like it's kind of like Liv Morgan's finisher, where where he jumps really high and fall. It's kind of the backstabber move, but he takes the person's head and puts that into the knee instead of the back. And he does, I think, a little more like a swinging motion instead of a jump up. But yeah, he hit that onto Mojo Rawley for the 3 count and the victory. Not a terrible match. It was, I think, a typical kickoff show match, but not really any dragging points at all. So at least had that going for it. Okay, our second match of the evening, first of the show proper, is Nakamura Shinsuke versus Rusev. Shinsuke tried to do some chain wrestling, but Rusev basically blocked it. He tried a single leg takedown. Rusev blocked it. Rusev came back and landed a big right hand on Nakamura. Nakamura began to fight back again. He dropped 2 big knee drops on the ring apron. Rusev tossed Nakamura into the ring barricade. Rusev countered a kick into a swinging Uranagi. Nakamura hit a running drop kick and followed it up with a big roundhouse kick. Rusev then hit a roundhouse kick of his own and got a 2 count. Nakamura came back, hit a couple more roundhouse kicks, and then went for a Kinshasa, but Rusev countered that with a Machka kick for a 2 count. At this point, Rusev tried to go for a little more, but tried to go for the accolade, but Nakamura wriggled his way out and hit 2 Kinshasas for the 3 count and the victory. No real surprise here. I mean, they got to build Nakamura for Mania and everything, but the match itself was just pretty average. I mean, I actually put it below the kickoff show match. Okay, next up is the United States Championship match, Bobby Roode versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton put up with a big standing shoulder block, and then he did his pose as he kind of looked towards the WrestleMania sign. He didn't quite point to it, though, so I don't know if that necessarily counts. Orton came back and hit a big back elbow after Roode tried to leapfrog into a lariat. Roode slugged Orton with a really hard chop. He kind of hit right around here on Orton, and it actually staggered him. Like, obviously, Randy Orton is hyperfluid in his shoulders. That's why they keep popping out of the socket. And I mean, I know that area can be kind of tender, but yeah, it's one of those. I don't know if it was necessarily he hit the sore spot for the shoulder, or maybe Roode accidentally caught Orton in the throat. Roode came back, hit a big clothesline. Again, Orton was selling some kind of injury into there. Roode hit a quarter splash and followed that with a neck breaker. He went for the glorious DDT, but Orton countered that into a roll-up. Orton hit a Hangman DDT. Rude countered an RKO attempt to do a victory roll. Orton hit a big back suplex on Rude into the ring barricade. Rude came back and hit a super sunset bomb for a 2 count. Orton came back and hit a superplex for a 2 count. At which point, Byron Saxton actually made a demand of Kevin Dunn, the oft-maligned, rarely seen technical director for WWE, to get a replay for the to see if they could get a replay and freeze the just bare beginning of the superplex. No doubt setting everyone on fire on Twitter there. Orton went for an RKO. Rude countered that into a spinebuster, got a 2 count. Rude tried to go for a sort of I think it was meant to be a blockbuster, but obviously he didn't flip. But Orton managed to counter that into the RKO out of nowhere for the 3 count and the victory. Randy Orton is now the United States champion, which means he is now a Grand Slam champion. And after that, Jinder Mahal came out and attacked Orton. Rude came in and hit the glorious DDT on both men and then walked up the ramp. Really good match for something that the build for it was kind of all over the place. They were trying to do it that Rude got ahead of Orton in the SmackDown Top 10, but since no one cares about the SmackDown Top 10, the momentum for this just wasn't building. So they made it more about Orton trying to win the one title that he never won. And again, try to be that Grand Slam champion. Joining the likes of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and Triple H and The Miz and Name Redacted and Sheamus and Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Okay, our 4th match of the evening is the women's tag. Naomi and Becky Lynch versus Natalya and Carmella. Carmella and Becky Lynch opened up. Becky tried to go for the disarmer, but Carmella got to the ropes. Becky and Naomi dual kicked Natalya after that. Naomi hit the Hurricane Rana DDT on Natalya. Natalya hit running Liger Bomb for a 2 count. Carmella came in and hit a Bronco Buster on Naomi. At this point, the crowd got quite vociferous in chanting, "We want Becky," as Naomi got double teamed by everyone. Becky got in, hit the Bexploder on Natalya. Carmella hit a handspring Hurricane Rana. Natalya tried to slide Becky the Money in the Bank briefcase. Becky kind of got up and interfered with it a little bit, and that enabled Carmella to hit a super kick on Becky for the 3 count of the victory. Didn't know what this was going to be leading to. Thought maybe this might pay off later in the evening, but it really didn't. This is probably the other show on the main card that could have easily qualified as a kickoff show match. Probably put it just on the same level as that. I mean, it wasn't a bad match by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, our 5th match of the evening is the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. The Usos versus The New Day. The New Day in this case consisting of Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Xavier and Jimmy Uso started things off. Jay hit a blind tag in and hit a big super kick on Xavier. Kofi managed to tag in and hit a flying chop onto Jay. At this point, both teams basically began copying each other's moves leading up to the New Day hitting, the Usos hitting the midnight hour on Kofi, getting a 2 count. Xavier broke the pin. The New Day came back and hit the Uso splash for a 2 count, and I think in this case Jay broke the pin. They copied the moves again with the stereo super kicks. At one point, Jimmy tried to do the Trouble in Paradise onto Kofi. The Usos hit a big suicide dive to the outside. As this happened, the Bludgeon Brothers music hit, and then the Bludgeon Brothers came down and attacked both teams for the double disqualification. And, yeah, unfortunately, that kind of... I get that they're trying to build towards Mania. I'm guessing it's going to be a triple threat match now. Maybe not such a bad thing right off the bat. Was rather surprised to find out that the Usos have never been on the WrestleMania card proper. I mean, they've been on the kickoff show a couple of times, and last year they were supposed to be on the kickoff show and they got bumped completely, so I can understand some bitterness on that. You know, I mean, it was shaping up to be a really darn good match, unfortunately, so I guess this was a good way of telling the story, but I could still understand being a little aggravated that the match didn't at least continue on a little bit longer. Okay, from that we go on to the SmackDown Women's Championship match, Charlotte versus Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott came out sans the Riott Squad, and she tried to go for the Riott kick right off the bat. Charlotte tried to go for the figure eight. Ruby put Charlotte in a sleeper hold, and they both tumbled out to the floor. It's at this point that the Riott Squad emerged from the crowd, began distracting Charlotte, enabling Ruby to kick Charlotte in the back of the head. Ruby hit the Riott kick for the 2 count. At this point, Naomi and Becky came down to the ring and basically held the Riott Squad at bay. Charlotte hit a slingshot suplex. Riott tried to lock Charlotte in sort of an inverted chicken wing. Charlotte came back and hit a big suicide dive to the outside, and then hit a follow-away slam into the ring barricade. Riott hit a top rope Frankenstein for a 2 count. At this point, the Riott Squad and it kind of drew Becky and Naomi off and got them ejected from ringside. And unfortunately, in the process, they then used that to try to double team Charlotte and wound up getting ejected as well. At this point, in the schmoz that broke out, Charlotte locked on the figure eight. Ruby Riott tapped out. Match overall was pretty good. There was a couple of mistimed moments in there, some bad chops. I think there was supposed to be a kick that was landed that didn't quite hit as well as it should have. But soon afterwards, Asuka's music hits, and she comes down to the ring, basically looks at Charlotte, then points to the WrestleMania sign, and then leaves. So, yep, looks like the Royal Rumble winner has made her decision. It's going to be Asuka and Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Alexa Bliss is going to probably be taking on Nia Jax. I mean, I don't know how this is going to play out exactly. Charlotte Asuka is probably the better match, but it does make you wonder if they were going to build towards that. Why did they put Asuka on Raw? Why not have her be on SmackDown? Why not? Yeah, or better yet, why not leave Charlotte on Raw and then move someone like Sasha Banks over to SmackDown? But anyway, that's how that's playing out. Okay, it's time for the main event of the evening, the 6-pack challenge for the WWE Championship. AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn versus John Cena versus Kevin Owens versus Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler. This was a one-fall 6-pack challenge. This was not elimination style. Immediately right off the bat, Cena hits AAs on everyone except Styles. Styles fired out of 2 AA attempts. At this point, everyone else got back in the ring and they all attacked John Cena. Eventually, things began to break up a bit more. Styles tried to roll up both Zayn and Owens. Ziggler hit a big DDT on Owens. Ziggler hit a big DDT on Styles, and then Owens frog splashed Ziggler. Ziggler hit the zigzag on Baron Corbin. Cena hit his spinning back suplex on Ziggler and Zayn. Ziggler countered an AA into a Famouser. Cena countered a super kick attempt from Ziggler into the SDF. Zayn broke up the pin attempt after he hit the Styles Clash on Cena. Ziggler and Corbin began to fight into the crowd, and basically the Corbin and Ziggler both both crashed into the Nationwide Arena where this took place is in Columbus, Ohio, and it's the hockey arena for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And so they were in the sort of the player bench where they have the big the plexiglass Stoppers right behind them, and that's where they crashed. And actually, it was a pretty intense spot. Let's see. Cena hits an attitude adjustment on AJ Styles from one table to the other. One announce table to the other, that is. Zayn, no one's got left in the ring. Zayn said, I'm going to follow through on my promise, going to lie down in the ring. Owens looked at this with some trepidation. Finally, he didn't quite take it. He grabbed Zayn, and Zayn immediately countered into a small package count for a 2 count. They began to fight on the outside, and at this point, Sammy started to taunt Shane. Owens slipped up behind Sammy, but Sammy dodged at the last minute, and as a result, Owens kicked Shane. Owens hit the pop-up power bomb, but Shane broke up the pin. Then Zayn hit a maneuver for a pin count, but Shane broke that up, which now put all 3 men in anger with each other. Cena hits the attitude adjustment on Corbin onto the ring steps. At this point, he then he tried to do his rolling AA, where he hits the first one and then he rolls through and hits the second one onto Ziggler. But Owens broke up the second attempt and hit the pop-up power bomb. Except immediately after that, AJ Styles got back up, hit the phenomenal forearm onto Owens for the 3 count and the victory. AJ Styles wins. Great match. AJ celebrating in the ring. Cena is looking intensely dejected. The camera actually starts to zoom in on him, and he sort of shoves it away, and that's kind of how the show ended. Like I said, a really great match to end things up there. It was fun. A lot of high spots involved. The attitude adjustment from one announce table to another is, because AJ is not the biggest guy in the world, he can really sell that flip, and that kind of made it look way more intense than it really was. Also, the spot where, like I said, Ziggler and Corbin crashing into the hockey boards was another great setup spot. Don't know exactly what they're going to be doing with Shane and Owens and Zayn in this. Could be triple threat, but since it seems like they're building towards 2 other triple threats, I kind of doubt that. I'm wondering maybe if it's going to be a tag match or something involved there. Don't know who's going to tag necessarily with Shane, but something's going to happen at Mania, obviously. So, overall thoughts on the show? Well, like I said, really no bad matches on this show. They were all pretty good. I mean, yeah, there were a couple of filler matches like Nakamura, Rusev, and the women's tag that they were kind of there. They didn't really add to anything. And I can understand being disappointed at the end of the tag match, but they did a good job in that brief story. And again, I think they're doing a good job of using this to set up WrestleMania. So I don't see if there's necessarily a huge drawback onto that. But like I said, I can understand, like I said, the filler did bring it down just a little bit, just because, again, the lack of enthusiasm involved for a lot of this. But for most part, the workers performed really well, so I am going to give this a B. Okay, so next video, well, it's probably going to be another Marvel Netflix recap if I can get to it, because there's a lot going on right now. Still in the early scripting stages for the Nova review, for the Random Trade review. Next movie, like I said, is going to be Tomb Raider. So, see you all next time. Hey guys, tired of me always talking about WWE and NXT? Want to see me cover something like, say, Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan, anything else? Check out my Patreon at Sleepy Time for Cat Productions and see how you can help me expand my wrestling coverage.